Welcome to Module 3, Creating a Business Letter. In this module, we're going to learn how to create the letter that's shown in Figure 3-1. We're going to be creating or completing a few general tasks, and that's going to include creating and formatting a letterhead with graphics. We're going to specify the letter formats according to business letter guidelines. We're going to insert a table in the letter, format that table, insert bulleted lists. We're going to work with smart art graphics, and then we will create an envelope for that letter. So we're going to get started with creating a letterhead. The first thing we want to do is actually sort of create the shape at the top. So we're going to go to our Insert tab. And in our Insert tab, we're going to see that we have all sorts of things up here. And what we're looking for is we want to go to the Shapes button. So we'll choose the shape. And we can choose any one, but we actually want to take the rectangle shape. So we're going to go down here and choose this rectangle. I could go to my recently used, but I'll use this shape right here. And what I'm going to do is with my cross, you see I have my, I don't know what that thing is called, my crosshairs. I'm just going to click and drag. I'll fix the sizing up in a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to click and drag and create a shape. So this shape is going to be where I'm going to sort of work with my letterhead. So now that I've got it drawn in there or put in there, you can see right up here we have height and width. And in this height and width, it's going to allow me to be more specific about the size I want. So I want to change this to be a height of much smaller. I'm going to change it to 0.5 so I can just use the arrows and take it to 0.5. And then I want to change the width to 5 inches. So I'm going to drop that down to 5. I could type in there if I wanted to. All right. So now it's sort of sitting there. I'm going to turn on, when I go back to my home, I'm going to turn on my paragraph markers so that I can see what's going on. And then I'm going to deal with sort of what am I going to do with my text? How do I want it to sit? So when we insert an object into Word, it gets inserted either inline or floating. So when we have something that's inline, it's actually in line with paragraphs, okay? So it would be in line with our paragraph markers. So whenever I change anything to do with my paragraphs, it would be in line with that paragraph. When I have something that's floating, I could just drag it around. So a floating object is just sort of allowed to be dragged and dropped wherever it is. Floating objects are actually easier to use in many respects. We just got to know what we're dealing with. Because if it was part of the paragraph markers, whenever I pushed enter, it would move down with it, or it would go centered or aligned somehow. The other option we have with our shape is our position. So I'll go back into our shape format thing up here. And now that we have our tab for our specific shape that we have going on, right over here we have position. And we want to choose, when we do a drop down arrow, we want to change the position so that it will be stuck there. So we stick it where it is. So we could do top left with a square text wrapping. So the text will wrap around it. Now it's gone. There. So it went down to the center. So because I have it zoomed in pretty much, let me zoom out a little bit so that we can see where it went. So I'll just zoom out and position. So it went to center. So we can position it wherever we want to position it. And in this case, we want to position it to top center with square text wrapping. so that the text won't be wrapped around it. So we're just going to choose that one, and it snaps itself to the grid itself. And the other thing that we want to do is do some layout options. And we could do it in our wrap text. So we want to make sure that we have our wrap text. So I'm going to select that down there. And I want to choose top and bottom. So if I have it, say, for example, square, the text wraps tightly around it. In tight, it's tighter. Like it means that it's sort of, you have a shape and the text will form itself around that shape. We don't want that. We actually don't want any text to be beside it. So we could choose behind text, so the text can go behind, or this will be behind the text. And that sometimes works when we have it sort of dim and we write over top of something. But what we want is we want it top and bottom. So we don't want text to be on the sides. We can have text on the top of it, and we can have text on the bottom. And then we're done with that. And when I click off of the shape, it will close my shape format up there. Okay, so now we're ready to continue on. Now that we have our shape positioned, what we're going to do is we're going to change the style and do a few more things to it. So I'm going to click back on the shape. And once I do that, you'll notice my shape format tab comes back up because I've selected the shape. And what we would like to do now is we would like to go into the shape styles, and we're going to go into more. So we have, these are the ones that are chosen, but we want to choose a different one. So we're going to go to more over here. And what we would like to choose is the moderate effect. So I'm going to see if I can find the moderate effect. There's the moderate effect orange accent 2. So that's called right there. We'll click on that. So we'll make it orange. We're going to change the outline of it. So we're going to go to the shape outline up here. And we'll click the drop down arrow. And we're going to go to gold. We're sort of going to change the outline, gold accent 4. And we'll choose that one. So the outline is a little bit different. We'll click that so that it's outlined with a little gold. I can barely tell, but I guess some people can. And then we will apply the effect, and then we'll be able to see it a little bit more. So we're going to go to the effects, the shape effects right here. And in this case, we want to go to the glow effect, and we're going to choose glow 5-point gold. Okay, so let's see what this one is. Looks gold, glow 5-point accent color 4. So we'll choose that one. So now I guess we can see the gold a little bit better, and it sort of looks a little more glowy. Then we're going to add some text to our shape here. So we're just going to right mouse button click in there, and we're going to, guess I'm not going to do it that way, add text. There it is, add text. So I'm going to choose to add text. And you see I have my cursor is in there. I have my paragraph marker. It's nice and white so I can read it. And I want it to be centered, so it's good. If it's not centered, then we would just choose to center that. And I'm going to type in Sunset State College. Okay. And now that I've selected or typed in Sunset State College, I'm going to increase the font, and I want that to be 24. So I'm just going to go here and choose 24 font. I mean, I could push the up arrow until I got to 24, but I'd like just to have it at 24, and then I'm going to bold it. Okay, so now I've got started with the top of my letterhead. So for Sunset State College, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to just do a save as, and I'm going to save this letterhead. so that I can keep working on it, and that way I can use it for later, and I'm going to call it letterhead. Okay, so our next step is we're going to make it a little prettier and add the rest of the information. So we're going to start with adding a picture. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for the picture that they require online. And if we don't find it there, then we will get it from Cengage. So we're going to go into pictures right up here and use the drop down. And we're going to start with online pictures. So we'll start there and see if we can find it. So we're looking for a stock photo or an online photo. And we're going to type in eagles or eagle. We'll see what we can find here. Maybe I'll just change it to eagle and see if that's there. So the picture I'm looking for is actually not here. In the text they found it, but it's not there. Even if I typed in eagles, it's not there as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get the picture that they require from the Cengage site. So I'll cancel that, and I'll go down onto my Cengage site, and I'm going to take this support file, which is the flaming eagle, and it will download for me, and I know that it's going to be in my downloads file, so it's support the flaming eagle. Okay, so I'll go back to Word, and I'm going to get a picture from this device now. So I'm going to insert a picture from this device. I'll go to my downloads and my flaming eagle picture. So I'll choose that and I will insert that picture. It's huge, so that's what it looks like. It's very big. But now we have our picture, and we're going to format the heck out of this thing and make it much smaller. So now with it selected, we're going to scale it down. So we're going to go to the height here, right up here, and change the size. And so we're going to drop it. Let's see if I can drop it down. Yeah, let's see if I can change this percentage. So I'm going to, actually I'll cancel that. So in our height and our size and our width here area, we're going to format or scale that down. So I don't think it'll let me scale it down that way. I really just want to do it this way. I want to scale the height to 10%. Okay, so I'm just going to go into height. It's at 96, and I'm going to make it as 10%. And I will tab over, and the width goes to 10% as well. And then I lock my aspect ratio relative to its original picture size. I'm going to leave it like that. And then I will just say OK. And it made it much smaller, which is exactly what I wanted it. So now it's at, you'll see it's at 0.5 and 0.65. And so that's where I wanted it to be. The next thing I'm going to do is change the color. So I still have it selected here. And I'm going to go over to my color here. And I'm going to change that color, and I'm going to go with this yellow here, gold accent for dark. So I'll take that, and I want to, it's sort of going to match a little bit better. I'll adjust the contrast here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm still selected, and I'm going to do my corrections. Okay, so I'm going to go up to corrections. And I want to increase the brightness 20% or plus 20. So that's minus 40. So I want plus 20 and contrast minus 20. So let's see, plus 20 minus 20. So I'm going to choose this one right here. And this is really for marking purposes only when we're doing this, because of the fact that I wouldn't notice the difference if I was marking it, but it certainly does with Cengage. I'm going to add a border also because we want a border or an outline. So I'm going to go to my picture border up here. And I'm going to, which color do I want? I want gold accent 4. So let's try finding gold accent 4. Gold accent 4. All right, so now we've got our gold accent 4. So now we have a border around it. Next, I'm going to do the sort of the same thing I did with this text box here, is I'm going to do some wrapping. So I'm going to go to the layout or position. I guess we could go to the, well, maybe we'll go to picture layout. There should be one attached, but I don't see it. So let's go and change the position, or next text wrap actually, because we want it to be in front of text. So I'm going to change it so that it's in front of text. And I will move it. So I'm going to move it, and I want to put it right here. So it's sort of lined up. So I'll deselect it. So it's going to sit right there beside Sunset State College. So I've got it completed. I've got it stuck there. Now what I'm going to do is I want it to come over here, and I want to copy and paste it, but I want the eagle pointing the other way. So I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it, I'm going to move it, I'm going to flip it, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to copy. So I'll just copy that, and then I'm just going to paste it. Now, we want to keep our source formatting, okay? So make sure you choose keep source formatting there. And then I'm going to move this right over to here. I'll put it right there. Okay, so now I got an eagle on this side, an eagle on that side. And then I'm going to flip. So make sure that I have my, oops, I deselected it, it went away. So my picture format. And when I have this sitting right here, I want to rotate it, okay? So I'm going to do a rotate. So I'll find rotate, so rotate or flip. So in this case, if I played with it, well, we'd figure it out pretty quickly, right? So I want to not flip vertically, I want to flip horizontally. So I want the eagle to look that way. Okay, so now I've got my eagle going that way, and that looks pretty. Okay, so now that we've got the two eagles, we're getting our letterhead is coming together quite nicely. So the final piece for the letterhead is the address and information so they can contact the Sunset State College. So we're going to locate it right below. So we see that we have this paragraph marker down here, and that's where we're going to put it. We're also going to go and make sure that we have it centered. So we're going to choose center. So now our paragraph marker jumps to the center, which is exactly what we want. And now we're going to type the information that we have. So this is Office of Admissions, comma, 101, no, 1001, Canton Street, MC 3300, comma, Novato, CA 94945. And then we will push our space bar. And what we're going to do now is we want our telephone number to, be separated from the address. So sometimes we use things like dots or symbols just to separate it. So we're going to go into insert a dot. It's a bigger dot. It's not just a period. It's a bigger dot. So we're going to go to insert, and we will go into our shapes, but I don't know if we want shapes. We're going to go into our symbols. Where's my symbols gone? Sometimes you got to find these things. Oh, there they are, right over there. Symbols, and I'm going to go to more symbols. And there are shapes that we could have used, but I don't see them. So we want the dot. Now, sometimes it's hard to find the dot, so we go and we sometimes can search for them. But if I scroll through, I might be able to find it without having to worry too much about it. Let's see if I can find the dot. It should be around here somewhere. I don't want the period. I want a dot. I want a solid dot. This might be it right here. Usually they have a number attached to it, but I think I will just take that. I kind of want it darker, but maybe there'll be a better one coming up. So this will go through them all, but that's, oh, maybe I had it there. Kind of don't see it. So I'm looking for the big fat dot. Oh, I'll go back and I'll just choose one. Sorry, I'm taking so long, but we'll find it. I don't want that one. Maybe I'll take that one and we'll see what it is. It's a middle dot. I guess it's called a middle dot, but we'll insert that and we'll close. So I don't see it. I'm going to turn off my, so it's a very little dot. It's not the actual dot that I would like. I would like something a little bit bigger than that. So sometimes we can find more, but usually they give us a number of what the dot is that they want, but that one's not very good. But I'm going to use that one until I find the right one. Should be a fatter dot there, but I'm sure I can find it in a bit. And then I'll type in the phone number. So 415-555-0199. And I will insert a dot again. It's just bugging me that I can't find the dot I want. So the dot that I used is now sitting right there, but I should be able to find it. But now I want to look again. See, I have to look again. Don't want that. Oh, here it is, right here. See, I knew I'd find it if I looked. So this is the one we want. It's a black circle. And I will take the black circle. So I'm going to insert that, and then I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to take this other one out. So I'm just going to backspace that out and go up to my symbols, and my black circle came up, my dot. So that looks better. So that was the one I was looking for. So it separates out the phone number from the rest of it. And after my final dot, I'm going to push space and then type in sunset.edu. Okay, so now I have the address and the phone number and the web page they can go to. And the final thing I'm going to do is just sort of add a border below. I think that's the final thing. A few more things maybe. Below this piece right here. So I can put a border anywhere I want. So what I'll do is I'll just go to my home tab. And in my paragraph, so this is part of my paragraph, I'm going to put a border, and I'm just going to create a bottom border. So you notice that I can put one anywhere. I can just drop one in. And if you see where the bottom border goes, it goes right below that the thing that I want. So now I have a border there. And I think that I got everything I need. So I'm just going to push enter. And you'll notice that now that I pushed enter, it dropped my border down. Okay. So because it dropped my border down, I don't want that. So it's going to keep going with my border. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clear the formatting so that it puts it back, right? So this paragraph marker that I should have on, when it wasn't there, it just sort of follows down and it will continue with center with a border below it, and I don't want that. So I'm going to clear that. So I'm going to move that down again. I think I'll just leave it there. And then I'm going to clear my formatting. So I'm going to go to my Home tab, and I'm going to go to the, I just got to see where I'm going here to do it. Should be over here somewhere in the font. And I'll just go here and see if I can do it there. Well, I guess I can't. Because I want this to be normal, and I want it to go there, and I want it to not be centered. And I don't want that to be there, so let's give this back. Let's put my border back right there. Put it back, and all of these are now cleared. So I just wanted to get that back to where it was. So now we have, we're on our normal. We are right mouse buttoned. We're left aligned, and everything that goes after it, so we don't have our line going on. So now we can start our letter from here. So letterhead is done. We're going to save it one more time. And then we'll start working on our letter, business letter. Okay, so the next step is that we are going to create the business letter, and we have a few things to do to get started with that. So the first thing we're going to do is we have this sunset letterhead saved. We want to keep that letterhead, so we're going to do a save as, and we're going to change this to the letter. So it's still going to say SC_WD_3_ and then instead of the letterhead, we're changing it so that it's Thomas welcome letter. Thomas welcome letter. Okay, so that preserves our letterhead, and now we can work on the letter for Thomas. So that's saved. It goes up there as saved. The next thing we're going to do is change the styles a little bit. So the normal style in Word has 8 points of blank space after each paragraph. And we can tell when we go into our paragraph, and we can see that when I went into my paragraph, it shows up as 8 points after. And we don't want that. So we're going to change that so that there is no spacing applied. So we can do that doing that here. Or I can just change it so up here to the style being no spacing. So my cursor has to be at this paragraph marker, and then I'll change it to the no spacing. And if I go to the no spacing, I click on that. If I then go back to my paragraphs, I can see that it's actually at 0 and the line spacing is single. So that piece is done. So now we don't want spacing after in a business letter, although if you do, or if you're doing a course that does, then you don't have to do that, but that's how you do it. We're also going to use some tab stops to align our text. So we can set our tab stops at a specific place on our ruler. So just make sure that your ruler is showing. So my ruler is showing, but if yours is not, then just go up to the View tab up here and choose Ruler. So now we make sure our ruler is setting. So what we're going to do is we're going to push Enter one more time to give us another space. So we have 2 paragraph markers going there. And you'll notice up here in the far corner up here, there is a tab stop marker. This one says left tab. So what I do with this is I can click on that left tab and it will create a left tab, and I will put it somewhere on my ruler, and I'll show you in a bit. But if I click it again, it changes to a center tab. If I click it again, it goes to a right tab. And if I click it again, it goes to a decimal tab. And a decimal tab basically means that it's going to line up my numbers on the decimal, which is really handy. And then if I click it again, it goes on to a bar tab. So it's got a bar in the middle, so it puts a bar there. It's actually kind of handy and cool too. And then if I click it again, it goes to a first line indent. So it will put, so we have first line indents. That's what these things are all about up there. And I don't want that. And I'll change it to that one is a hanging indent, and then it goes back to my left tab. So when we click that button, and it's way up here, and we click that button, it will change the settings for our tab stops. So we want to position pointer. We want to make sure it's on the left tab. We're going to go to 3.5, so right up here. And I'm just going to click once in the ruler, and you'll notice that it put a tab stop. You can barely see it, but there's a tab stop up there. And what that does is, I'll show you what happens, is when I push tab, it goes all the way to my tab stop. Now my tab stop here, if I put too many or if I put it in the wrong space, so you notice I can move it. Okay, I can move it. If I put it in the wrong spot, I can drop it out. I just pull it out and it goes back to a 0.5 tab stop. But I'm going to put that back at 3.5. Okay, so I put that back and I have a single tab stop right there so that when I tab, it goes there. So we have one there, that's good. And I don't need another tab stop, so I have that set there so that when I push tab, it goes straight to that. You can play around with these. If I go to a center, so I'll go and I'll just put a center one in there right here, and then I'll put a right one in as well, just for fun, and then I'll get rid of them in a bit. Okay, so if I go to tab and I type, okay, so I just typed and then I push tab again, and then I'm going to type, and this one will do something different, so it sort of stays right there. And then I'll tab again, and then it jumps over to the right hand side, and then it goes backwards. So these tab stops do different things. So this one will left align it right on that tab stop, so I can move that over like that. This one will center align it, so you see it keeps it in the center. And this one over here is a right align, so it right aligns the information. Okay. So that's what they do. That's the difference between those tab stops. And so I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to delete all this stuff that I got in there. And it just allows you to play. So I'm going to take this tab stop, this left tab stop. See if I dropped it. I didn't drop it, and just drop it at 3.5. All right. So that's what the tab stops are working or supposed to do. Then I'm going to put a current date. So I'm going to push tab. I'm going to go to my insert. So I tabbed over so that I put the date there. I'm going to go to date and time right here. And I want to choose August 26th. I want to choose this date right there. So it just has the actual date. I don't want to have it update automatically because I'm writing a letter now. Sometimes we do that, so every time we write this letter, it's going to update with the correct date. So now I have my date in there. Kind of looks funny sitting right there, but that's okay. And then I'm going to enter the information. So my insertion point is at the end, and the formatting here is set for just this book. Formatting can change based upon different things and different people. So I'm going to press enter 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm just going to type. And the problem with typing and doing all this and recording is it takes a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to type up all the information that's here. And then once that's typed up, you can take a look at it. If you're not going to do your own, you don't need to watch me type. So I will just pause this. I will finish typing and I will turn it on like magic. Okay, so now I have finished the typing. And we have got the congratulations, you are accepted. I have 2 enters after we would like to inform you of important upcoming dates. And now we're going to insert a table. So we have those 2 inserts. I'm going to go up to table. And I would like to have a grid of, I got to see here, 2, 3. I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, a 3 by 1 table, and it's just going to go down there. And then I'm going to start entering some data. So the table will format it later, but right now we're just going to enter some data. So we're going to type in date, events, and notes. So I'll just type in date, event, and notes. Surprised this isn't done by somebody else. So we're going to enter data into the rest of the table. And when you'll notice that I'm here, date, events, and notes. And if I push tab, it just shoots down and creates another row. If I would have pushed enter after notes and I push enter, what it does is it makes the table bigger. I don't want that. I don't want the bigger cell. I just push tab and then it will create another line for me. So I'm just going to type in the dates and come back. So you don't have to watch me type in the dates and the events and the notes. Okay, ta-da, typed. So I now have my dates and stuff in my table. And now I'm going to sort of just change the table design here. So I'm going to make sure that my insertion point is inside the table somewhere. And you'll notice that we have all these table designs that come up here. And I'm going to push the More button down there. And I want to choose the grid tables. And I would like grid table 1, light accent 2. Let's see if I can find that. Grid table 1, light accent 3, and I'll go to 2 right there. Okay, so then it makes it a little bit prettier because they do come out pretty ugly when we start with that. So now we have our grid. You'll notice that I have a insertion point below the table. So that shows that's where my the rest of my letter will go. But for now, I'm just going to work a little bit more in here, and I'm going to work with this column right over here, the notes. So I want to italicize the data in the 3rd column. So what I'll do is you'll notice I get a big arrow right there. And when I click on that big arrow, it selects the whole column. So I'm going to make it italicized. So I'll just push italicize. and then it italicized all of that information there. And I can click off of it and it goes away. Okay, so the next step is that I'm going to insert a row because I want to add some information in there. Now there's many ways of inserting a row. One of the ways of doing it is that I could just click on a row here, or actually select the whole row in here, and I can insert. So you'll notice that I have this insert here. I have, oh sorry, I was on the insert table, but let's go to the insert. So I can insert below, or if I select it up here, maybe I'll select this one right here, and then I can insert below. So I want to insert a row below the August 16th to August 17th. And I'm going to add something else. So in August 16th to the 17th, this is going to be Welcome Week. And this basically, and you notice it stays italicized, so it is going to keep the formatting. So we want to get schedule during orientation. Okay, so now we're done with the table. If I wanted to delete anything, I could just delete it. I could backspace it. And I don't think I need anything else added to the table. Okay, so I think that table is done, and we'll just continue on with our text. So we just want to do this and type in some information. I think I want another enter in there before. Okay, I'll just pause it so that I can finish typing, and then we'll come back. Okay, so before your orientation, you must do the following through our campus website. And what we're going to do is to create a bulleted list here. And with our bulleted list, we'll start here. And there is a little bit of a shortcut, so you can just do a asterisk, so a shift asterisk, or you could do the asterisk over here on your keyboard or on your other one. So we'll do asterisk, and then we'll push tab, or sorry, spacebar. And spacebar, you'll notice that it did this, it created a bullet from an asterisk. And this autocorrect options, we could turn that off if we didn't want it, if we just wanted to have an asterisk there. But we don't, we actually want a bullet. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to type in the bulleted lists that are here. And then just push enter, and it will continue to create bulleted lists. Okay, so we have our first one, complete a housing contract or a housing exemption form. And when I push enter, I will have my another bullet come up. So I'm going to enter the bullet points, and then I'll pause, enter the bullet points, and I'll come back before I push enter on the last one. So I've typed up the 3 bullet lists, and I'm going to push enter. That was my final bulleted list. So I'm going to push enter. Oops, right here, push enter. And it gives me another bullet, but I don't want a bullet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push enter again. So when I push enter again, you'll notice that it then goes back to the no spacing normal, gets rid of the bullets. So I wanted to bop that out. I didn't want a bullet. So I pushed enter and it took away the bullets. Then I can push enter again, and I'm going to have the final paragraph here that says, I am confident you will pursue your passions and accomplish your goals as a sunset state flying eagle. Okay, so I'm going to pause while I type that. Okay, so we have our final sentence in there. I'm going to push enter twice. And then you'll notice my tab stop is still up there the way I put it at the beginning. So I'm going to tab twice, or sorry, tab. And when I tab, I'm going to type in sincerely. And a comma. And then I'm going to push enter 4 times. Okay, and then I'm going to tab again over there, and her name is Lucy R. Song. And I'll push enter again and then tab. And she's Director of Admissions. Okay, so now I have my letter done, formatted the way I wanted, and that is complete. And then we'll work on some smart art for our next part of this. All right, so we need to create our orientation schedule, and that is going to be on a separate page. So I'm going to ensure my cursor is, cursor is at the end of the letter, and I'm going to insert a page break. There's a couple of ways of doing it. I can do a Control Enter, or I can do an insert a page break up here. I use my Control Enter all the time, but I can just create a page break right here, and it goes to the next page. And now that I'm on the next page, I'm going to create the orientation and registration student schedule. So I want to center it. I'll go to my home tab. I want to center it. I'm going to change the formatting before I even type. I'm going to go and I'm going to bold it. I'm going to change the font size to 36. So I'll just type in 36. And I'm going to change the font color. So I can do all this right here before I even start typing. I'm going to change the font color to an orange. Accent to darker by 25%. So it's going to be pretty dark. I'm going to type. So now it's down here. I'll just scroll up so you can see it. And it's going to type in. Oh, I didn't stick with my, I forgot to push enter. What did I know? I wanted 36. There we go. That's better. There we go. So orientation and registration student schedule. So now that we have that, we want to select the paragraphs because we want to create a border. So I'm going to select all of that. And I'm going to go to the borders arrow. That's fine, it right there, borders. And I'm not sure what we want here. What do we want? Oops. Oh, I guess we want a dashed one. So I'm going to go down to borders and shading. And we're going to have a box border. So I'll select the box border. And then I want one with a dashed edges and the color. So I want to change the color to orange accent 2. And I want the width to be a 2 and a 1/4 point. All right. And I think I want to change that. Yeah, I forgot. We want to change this to a dashed one. That would be that one right there. Okay, so we got, I forgot, 2 1/4 point with that color, and it looks like that. So we want a dashed line across it. So I select my style, select my color, select my width. Okay, and now it looks like we have that. I want to make sure that it worked. And now I'm going to push enter. And I want to clear the formatting for here. Okay, so that the formatting doesn't follow. So I'll undo what I did. And I was sort of cheating the last time we did this. So I pushed enter and my borders came down, and you'll notice that it's set on this format schedule, like as in it formats it this big, but I'm actually going to change and add more text and all sorts of stuff. So what I'm going to do is clear my format. So I'm going to go up here into clear all formats for this paragraph marker. Okay, so then it pops down underneath there, and it's cleaned up and it goes back to a normal style. So we want to create the text using single spacing with double spacing between paragraphs. So we want to apply the no spacing style right there, and then enter the 2 paragraphs of text. Okay, so we've got that. And the text we're going to do, maybe I'll just push another enter. I'll just dictate the text and then fix it up as I go. So let's see what we are going to enter. We look forward to meeting you. Below you will find a general schedule for the 2 days you will be on campus for orientation and registration. Period. During orientation, comma, we will walk around campus, so please dress accordingly. There we go. We look forward to meeting you. I should put an exclamation. Should have told it that. It's much faster to do it that way, isn't it? There we go. So now we have our information that we've got it. We want to change a few things to underline. So the 2 days. We're going to go to the underline arrow right here. And we want to do a dashed line under there. So 2 days. And we should change that color, I think, to probably orangey. Okay, so we have orange accent 2. We underlined it that way. And the next thing we want to do is copy that. So we're going to use the format painter to copy the formatting for the that we just did right there. But I could actually just put my cursor right in there. And I'm going to click my format painter, and then I want it to have the dress accordingly. So I want to paste or do that. So what I did was I did my format painting and I selected dress accordingly. So you know what happened though is I missed the D. There we go. So it did that underline for the dress accordingly. And now we're ready to insert some smart art graphics. So we'll make it pretty. And I will put my cursor down there. I'll give it 2 enters. I will center it, and then I'm going to insert and create some smart art. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, and I'm going to choose Smart Art. And we have all these different ones. We have all, and they have lists. And I'm going to choose one of them, and I'm not sure which one. So I'm going to choose List, and I'm going to see which one I pick. So I think I want this one down here. We want Group List, if I'm not mistaken. Grouped list. So there's two group lists, so I want this group list. That's a horizontal picture list. This is a group list. So we're going to take the grouped list, and we will just say OK. So now we have our smart art, and we're going to fix this up because obviously we don't want it to look like that. We have too many boxes. We don't need as many boxes. So what we want to do is we want to delete like this third one. We only need 2 of them. So I'm going to delete. Whoops, I must have deleted too many. Let's undo that. So we want to have, yeah, that's enough. That's the right amount. So we could delete it if we have it set. I don't know that we need to delete all of them. Oh yeah, we want to get rid of one whole box here. We're looking at day 1 and day 2. And so we only have 2 days. So I'm going to delete just this one whole piece here and see if it deletes properly. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. So now we're stuck with 2. We got rid of that third column. There's probably an easier way to do it. I could have just set it so that it doesn't have it. But I'm going to just type in the text here. I could type over here, or I could type in here. I find typing here is just as nice. So we have day 1. Oops. Day 1. And here we're going to check in. And ignore the size at this point. And the next one I will do at 10. Okay. The next one I could type it right over here and we could see what it looks like. So we're in day 1, and then I could type it in here. Welcome and general. Info sessions, session 10:15 to 11:45. Okay, so I could type it there, I could type it there. It doesn't matter which way, where I type it. So we got that. And maybe I want to add a pane. So I want another pane or added down here. So you'll notice that I have Smart Art Design and Formatting up here have come up. So I still have this selected. I'm going to go to Add a Shape. And then it just shoots it just over here, and it just adds another one down below here. Okay, so I have day 1. It gave me another one, and I'm going to say that we now have lunch from 12 to 12:45. All right. So I'm going to keep adding shapes down here to get all of my day 1 done, and then I'm going to click over here and I'm going to put my day 2 stuff in there. Okay, so it's a lot of typing, but I won't put you through that, and I will get all that information typed in there so that we now have all the information for this smart art. So now that I'm done this one, I'm going to add another shape, so make sure this one is selected down here. like where it says lunch, even though I didn't do 12:45. And then I'll add another shape. Okay, so we're going to continue on to keep adding all of that information in there. Okay, so I have entered all of the data for day 1 and day 2. And I found that I could just, when I'm clicking in here, type your text here. Once I've finished, I can just push enter and it enters another one. So now we have, in our Smart Art, we have day 1 and day 2 complete. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to change the colors and format and make it a little bit prettier. So I'm going to ensure that I'm selected in my Smart Art here, and my Smart Art design is going to come up. And I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to choose change colors, and I'm going to go to this first one, which is colorful. Makes it really pretty. So now we have, it looks colorful. I'm going to change the style of the graphic. So I'll click the more. You'll notice there's a lot of choices up here, but we'll start here. Okay, so I'm going to use my more button, and I am going to, what do I want? I don't want that one. Let's see, do I want the 3D? I do not. I do. I want, the one they want is subtle effects. So I'll take subtle effects right there. And it added some subtle effects to that. The final thing I'm going to do is to size it. So in order to size it, what I would like to do is to be able to see the 2 pages together. So I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to choose Multiple Pages. So the View tab, Multiple Pages. And I'm going to close this text thing here. And so I can see what it looks like, but I see I got a lot of space in here. So I have the whole Smart Art selected here. Let's make sure I have it selected. Oops, there we go. So I want them both actually. And then I will just drag, and I'm just going to make it a little bit longer and sort of put it about there. That's all. And now I think I'm finished with that. If I want to print it, I can simply save the letter and I can just print. But now we have our letter and our registration schedule. To create or attach an envelope here, so I'm going to go back to my normal view. I'll just go back to one-page view, and I'll just zoom that up a bit so we can see it a bit better. Let's go a little bit higher. I'm at 69. I don't want it so small. Okay, so I'm going to start. I have my letter here. I'll go back up here, and it's going to go to Mr. Caleb Thomas, and I will take the address right there. I'm going to go into my mailings tab, and I'm going to create an envelope. And once that envelope starts, you'll notice that whatever I selected is what came into the delivery address. So it's quite simple. The return address, I would type in my return address. I'm not going to worry about typing that in right now, but it's in the book. Type in the return address because they put it so small. Actually, I think the return address is right there. Maybe I'll just type that in. So it's Sunset College or Sunset State College. Okay, so through the magic of pause, I have typed in the return address and I've created the envelope. So I can just print that envelope. I can add it to the document. There's a couple of options there. When I add it to the document, it will become a part of the document for printing. And otherwise, I would just print it. So if I did a print, I would save, and then it would just do a simple print through my printer itself. Okay, so that is it for this one. We will save this and upload it to Cengage.